Can you see it? This shape is impossible in our world, but it's real. In the fourth dimension, you know what a cube is, right? 6 faces, 8 corners, 12 edges. Simple. A tesseract has 24 faces and 16 corners, and in the next 15 minutes, you're about to see it. Your brain will hurt, but in a good way. Hey, I'm Alex. I have a PhD in mathematics, and I've spent 5 years studying higher dimensional geometry. Here's what you'll learn. First, we'll visit Flatland, a 2-dimensional world. Then we'll use that to understand how 4D objects project into our 3D world. And finally, I'll show you a trick to visualize 4D in your mind. No math degree required, just your imagination. Let's go. Meet Circle. He lives in Flatland, a perfectly 2-dimensional universe. It's like living on an infinitely thin sheet of paper. No up, no down. Just left, right, forward, and back. Circle has friends, a job, a life, but he's never experienced the third dimension. He can't even imagine it. To him, up doesn't exist. Now, watch this. A sphere from our 3D world is descending through Flatland, but Circle doesn't see a sphere. He can't. He only sees what intersects his 2D plane. First, a dot appears. Then it grows into a small circle. The circle expands, reaches maximum size, then shrinks back down to a dot and vanishes. To Circle, the sphere looks like a dot that becomes a circle, grows, shrinks, and disappears. From his perspective, it's magic, maybe a miracle. But it's not magic, it's just a 3D object passing through his 2D world. Circle only sees slices, cross-sections. He's seeing moments of the sphere as it moves through his dimension. Now here's the part that should make you uncomfortable. What if you are Circle? What if right now, a 4D object is passing through your 3D world, and you're only seeing a 3D slice of it? What if reality is bigger than what your eyes can show you? Let's build a tesseract. Step by step, look at this pattern. 0 dimensions, a point, 1 vertex, 1 dimension, a line, 2 vertices. We connected 2 points, 2 dimensions, a square, 4 vertices. We connected 2 lines, 3 dimensions, a cube, 8 vertices. We connected 2 squares. See the pattern? Each dimension doubles the vertices. 4 dimensions, a tesseract. 16 vertices. We connect 2 cubes. To make a tesseract, take 2 cubes and connect their corresponding corners in the 4th dimension. 8 connections, 1 for each corner, and there it is, a wireframe tesseract. But wait, this looks weird, right? That's because we can't actually show you a 4D object. Your screen is 2D, your world is 3D. So what you're looking at is a projection, a shadow. Think about it this way. When light hits a 3D cube, it casts a 2D shadow on the wall. The shadow is a flattened version, a projection of the cube. Same thing here. What you're seeing is a 3D shadow of a 4D tesseract. It's the best our 3D space can do. Now watch what happens when we rotate it in 4D space. This is a normal rotation. 3D rotation, you've seen this before. XY axis, familiar, predictable. But this is 4D rotation. The inner cube and outer cube swap places. They pass through each other. Not because they're cutting through, but because they're rotating through a dimension you can't see. Your brain is trying to make sense of it. It can't, and that's okay. You're not supposed to fully visualize 4D. You're a 3D creature. But you can understand it, and that's what we're here for. You know how you can unfold a cube into a cross shape of 6 squares? Like cutting a cardboard box and flattening it out. This is called a net. It's a 2D representation of a 3D object. Now watch what happens when we unfold a tesseract. The tesseract splits apart. 8 cubes separate. They're still connected at some edges, but now they're spreading out into our 3D space. And when they settle, you get this, a pattern of 8 cubes, 8 entire cubes. A cube unfolds into 6 squares. A tesseract unfolds into 8 cubes. Pause the video right now. Look at this pattern. Can you imagine folding this back into 4D? Try it. I'll wait. Yeah, your brain can't do it, neither can mine. And that's okay. But here's the beautiful part. The math says it works, even if we can't visualize it. The equations are consistent. The geometry is sound. 4D space allows this structure to fold back perfectly. That's the power of mathematics. It lets us explore places our senses can't reach. You might think this is just abstract math. Interesting, but useless. But 4D space is real. Right now, you're moving through 4D space. 3 dimensions of space, x, y, z, plus 1 dimension of time. Spacetime. Einstein figured this out over 100 years ago. Time isn't separate from space. It's the 4th dimension. When you walk across a room, you're not just moving through space. You're tracing a path through space-time. Your position in x, y, z changes, but so does your position in t, time. And when you understand 4D geometry, things like gravity warping space-time start to make sense. Mass bends the fabric of space-time. Objects follow curved paths through 4D space. That's what we call gravity. But it's not just physics. Machine learning uses high-dimensional space. When AI categorizes an image, it's plotting data points in a space with hundreds, sometimes thousands of dimensions. Each pixel, each feature is a dimension. We can't visualize 1000D space. But the math works, the algorithms work, and they're navigating through geometries far more complex than a tesseract. And pop culture tries to show us. The tesseract scene in Interstellar, the mirror dimension in Doctor Strange, the folding city in Inception, those aren't just special effects. They're artistic interpretations of higher dimensional geometry. And now you actually understand the math behind it. You're now smarter than most Marvel characters. All right, I promised you a trick to visualize 4D. Here it is. Remember circle? He saw the sphere as changing circles. Those changing circles were cross-sections, slices through an object. Now imagine a plane, like a sheet of glass moving through a cube from bottom to top. At the bottom, the intersection is a small square. In the middle, it's a larger square. At the top, it's a small square again. As the plane moves, you see changing squares. So when a tesseract moves through our 3D space, we see a morphing sequence of 3D shapes. A small cube, then a larger cube, then a complex stellated shape, then it simplifies, then it shrinks back to a cube, then it's gone. That's a 4D object passing by you. Your homework, and yes, you have homework, watch this morph. This is a 4D object passing by you. Every time you see a cube impossibly transform, think, is that a 4D shadow? Optical illusion cubes, M.C. Escher artwork, video game glitches. Your brain will start recognizing 4D signatures in 3D space. Look, you won't truly see in 4D. None of us can. We don't have the biology for it, but you now have a framework, a way to think about it, a mental model. Mathematicians who work with 11-dimensional string theory, they use tricks like this. They use cross-sections, projections, analogies. You're using the same tools as cutting-edge physicists. Welcome to 4D thinking. Before we wrap up, let me break your brain one more time. We've been talking about 4D. But what about 5D, 6D, 10D? String theory proposes 11 dimensions. 11. Each dimension adds more degrees of freedom, more directions to move. In 3D, you move left, right, forward, back, up, down. In 4D, you add one more direction, time, or another spatial dimension. In 5D, you add another. We don't have good words for dimensions 5 and above. They're just directions we can't point to, directions that only exist in the math. Here's what keeps me up at night. If 4D beings exist, they see all of you, your entire timeline, from birth to death, all at once. To them, you're not moving through time. You're a static 4D structure, a shape in space-time. Does free will exist in 4D? That's a question for philosophers, or is it? Quick hits before we end. A 4D sphere is called a globe. 4D rotation has 6 possible axes, not 3. You can tie knots in 4D that untie themselves in 3D. And a 4D being could remove your organs without cutting you open. They just reach through the 4th dimension. Yeah, that last one is unsettling. Today you met Circle, built a tesseract, unfolded it into 8 cubes, connected it to Einstein's spacetime, and learned to visualize 4D through cross-sections. Not bad for 15 minutes. Here's what I love about this. We're 3D creatures trying to grasp 4D reality. And we can't fully do it. Our brains aren't wired for it, but we try anyway. We build models, create analogies, make animations, write equations. That's the most human thing ever, reaching beyond our limitations. So when you look at a tesseract and your brain hurts, that's not failure. That's you touching the edge of human understanding. Be proud of that. If your brain isn't completely fried, check out my videos on Klein bottles and hyperbolic geometry, where we break more impossible objects. Subscribe so YouTube shows you next week's video on what 4D creatures would actually look like. And comment below. What broke your brain the most? One last thing. You're already in 4D. You're moving through time right now. You're just seeing it one moment at a time. See you in the next dimension.